Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Abby and I like to talk about spooky things. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you 24 terrifying TikToks. If you guys like this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, click the subscribe button down below, and turn on post notifications so you will never miss a video. I post every Sunday and most Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Central Time. And without further ado, let's get right on into the video. Our first two TikToks are by the user Real Estate Astral, who tells us stories revealing the realities of being a realtor with haunted houses.
I'm doing an open house right now, and you're wondering why I'm standing outside like the psychopath. People are probably watching me. I have two open houses today. No one tells you when you're becoming a real estate agent to check if you're scared. To check if you're a scaredy cat. Like, if I knew I would have to deal with this, I probably wouldn't have started. But I didn't think about it. Now I'm here staying outside. I have an open house. The second one I have today in another city is haunted. Not haunted. Someone died in it. And they did not put it down that someone died, or else I would have not done an open house. Someone died in it, like they were sitting there for weeks. No, I'm exaggerating, like a week. Dead. Bitch. They had to fumigate the whole fucking house, like for a whole fucking week while they were renovating where she died, upstairs. And now I have to sit there by myself, go upstairs, turn on the lights by myself, and hope I don't get haunted. I don't know what to do. And I came into this one. This is the one I had in the morning. I was fine. There was an agent here already. He was showing his clients. It was actually an agent I knew, so thank God. But he goes, oh yeah, this one, someone died in it. So, like, make sure to tell people that. And I was like, I missed that. Like, I looked up the information and I missed that. Like, he even showed me. He's like, oh yeah, I was reading it. And I was like, how did I miss that? Like, I was moving so quick. So now I have two open houses where people died. Peacefully. I will say it was peaceful. But do I want to be sitting in a house where someone died by myself? No. So don't be a real estate agent if you're scared of ghosts like me, or else you're going to be staying outside for 3 hours by yourself until someone gets here. And when someone gets here, you're going to have to act like you're all good. Everything's great. Thank God you're not alone. But you have to walk back inside that house and act like everything's okay. I don't want to do this. Wish me luck on this open houses. Hopefully I don't get haunted. I'll keep you guys updated on the other one because I'm more scared of the other one. We're back. These are lashes. Literally time to buy some new ones. Honestly, when I hate buying them because putting them on is just so much harder than when they're like already like built in, like to my eye. They're pre-cut and everything. But let's see how fast we can do this. My client, we have an appointment soon and my client should be here soon. I'm just waiting on him. I have like 10 minutes. So we'll see how fast I can do this because I'm like stressing. One moment. Let me cut them. Okay. I cut the little ends off. I just cut 2 little pieces. That way they fit my eye a little shorter so they're not bothering me at all. And then now I'm putting the first layer of glue. The houses we're going to go see today, one of them is so cute. I'm so excited to see that one. The other one, someone died in it. Again, people are like, you need to bless yourself, blah, blah, blah. I just don't think about it. I wear this. I'm not, the more you like acknowledge it, I feel like, and all that stuff, like, I feel like the more it gets to you. So I just kind of ignore it. I pray to myself, before going in, and that's it. Bim bam done. But like the reason I don't go to houses anymore by myself without my client, people are like, that's so unprofessional. Like, you need to look preview. No, a lot of the times people live in houses, you cannot preview a house before seeing it all the time. So with those, like when they're vacant and someone died in them, I will not go preview it. I don't care. Like if I don't know the layout, I know all the info on the house. That's all that matters. Because when I first got into real estate, I was like really young. I was like 19, and so I like did not think about this stuff. Even the fact that someone could have been there to like rob me or something. And I go into the house, I open it up, and I felt weird. Like I automatically, I don't think the death had happened recently because that was not listed, but they literally like, it just felt so off as soon as I entered. And at the time, like I would never get scared about going into houses by myself. So I was like, why? Sorry, my client just called me. So I put on the other lash. But anyways, as I was saying, like I walk in there and I'm just like, what the fuck? And usually I stay in the houses, but this time I was just like, she feels weird. So I turned on a couple lights and I just like could not sit there. My clients were running late. So I was just like, nah, like I'm leaving. So I didn't lock the door, but I shut it and I waited for them. And then they get there and I act like nothing happened. I was just like, oh, like I opened up the door waiting for you guys. That's it. We go in there, I'm acting on normal, but like the whole time I just felt like so weird. So weird. We get through the whole house. It's empty because no one's living there at the time. And then we get to the garage. This is where I'm like, oh hell no, like let's go. So we get to the garage area and there's this room next to it. And it's like, I don't know, like it had a bathroom, but like not a bathroom. Like it was in the actual room. And like there was a sink in there. It was just like if someone there like had a disability like in the family and they were like taking care of them, so they needed like that special room, or an old person, right? Because you know they could barely walk and stuff, like they need help. And I just like made it easier on the family. So I was just like, okay, cool. My clients saw the room and they're just like, oh, like how cool, like, you know, to help, you know, whoever needs help, like when the time comes. And I was like, yeah, that's so nice. But I was like inside freaking out because I was like, please tell me I'm not feeling this. Like, why? We get to the garage. Hold on. We get to the garage, and in the middle of the garage, it was all empty. There was a literal hospital bed sitting there, like in the middle. Like they didn't even put it on the side. It was just sitting there by itself, like a full-on, did I lose my shit? A full-on hospital bed. And I was like, I didn't even know how to hide my face. I was just like, out of everything they could have left, like why would they leave a hospital bed there? So that confirmed why the hell I was feeling so weird. And I literally wanted to get out of the house right then and there. I was like, fuck no. And even my clients were like, can we go? And I was like, yes. I was like, bitch, you better hope you can walk faster than me because I'm gonna walk in front of you. Because I am not. Like, imagine the door just shuts on you. No. So yeah, we left, we dipped. We didn't even think about putting an offer in. I mean, they were just like, skip her. We didn't even finish the tour. We're just like, let's go. So yeah, that's why I don't walk into houses by myself anymore. Not just because it's like someone can be there with a gun, like, ready, but honestly, because it's like also like ghosts. You just don't know like what you're walking into. So yeah, here's my lashes.
That's one thing that I feel like is kind of unsettling when you're in a home that you're not familiar with, is you don't know the energies, you don't know the sounds. So it could be a normal house settling sound, but you hear something and it freaks you out because you're not sure if it's normal or not. Also, with being a real estate agent, you're going into so many different houses that have so many different energies and histories, and you have no idea exactly what's happened in the house, you know, since it was built, much less while the previous owners had it and were living in it. So you're kind of just entering a space with unknown energy and hoping for the best. And I feel like for the most part, a lot of people don't really think of it that way, but as someone who is very invested in the paranormal and very aware of the energies I surround myself with, that would be at the forefront of my head every time I went into a new house. And I just do not think that that would be a suitable job for someone who is very aware of things like that, because again, you don't know what you're walking into. Our next TikToks for these are Whispers, Tales of Gore.
It's okay. I can see you. Come to me. Are you a little boy? It's okay. Come here. It's okay. I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but it looks like it's going like back and forth. You see a movie? See a movie?
Oh.
It's okay.
No, wait.
It's
Come
okay.
back. Come back.
Where?
No, you come back. Go straight. Look straight towards me. No. Turn towards me like you were earlier. Put your back towards me.
Okay, this one is really, really scary to me. Obviously, this could be a fake video for sure, but I don't know. It's just, I was startled when that kid figure came into frame, because I was kind of looking at the side just left of the door where it was kind of like moving, and at first I was thinking it could just be like a shadow from a tree that slightly resembles maybe like a human figure. Like, not even, it's not really a human figure at all in the first part, but it could be like a tree creating a weird shadow that they're mistaking for a person and that they're talking to. And so I was so like locked on that, waiting for something crazy to happen, that when the actual crazy thing happened, it scared me to death. I mean, you can clear as day see a kid running, like a shadow of a kid running on the door. And if this is a little shadow figure child, that is one heck of a catch. Either way, it scared me to death. So I think either way, it's definitely a very frightening video. Jump scares are just something else. Our next TikTok is with the user Twin Investigators, who show us a little preview of a ghost investigation they did on the property of Gypsy Rose's old house.
Are we the first people to ghost hunt at Gypsy Rose and Dee Dee Blanchard's home? We got some crazy evidence. Here's a sneak preview.
Come make one of these cat toys go off so we know that you're here, Dee Dee.
Oh my god, it went off! Oh, it did. We can see it's at... Yeah.
This one's on orange. You can't see it because it's...
This is at a
So
7
they
right
are at
now.
about the same level,
They are.
actually. Because this one's in the yellow.
So,
The full investigation will be released December 28th, the day Gypsy Rose will be released from prison.
I'm not really sure how I feel about this. For some reason, it feels a little disrespectful and clout chasey almost. So I don't know, like something about this video just kind of makes me uncomfortable, especially the fact that it's not just like a little TikTok, it's like a full investigation type thing. Maybe that's just me and I'm being overly sensitive about it, but I think it's a little strange. However, we have this video, so we're gonna talk about it. I would not even be remotely shocked that there's activity on the property. One, obviously someone was killed on the property, that person being Dee Dee Blanchard. But between all of the stuff that went on in that house, the amount of negative and intense emotions going on there, absolutely there is bound to be some kind of activity, some residual energy, not a question. But I can't confirm the legitimacy of this. Obviously we see like results they're getting, but that could be from any amount of external factors. Not necessarily that they're faking it, but if they're just wandering around, they could be getting a signal that's interfering with their devices or something like that. They're not in like a secure location where they know that there aren't any other variables affecting their devices. But also, if you're just on the outskirts of the property, I don't know if you'd actually be able to catch anything or any activity or energies that are actually going on inside the house. So don't really feel like this is kind of a legit thing. And also I feel like it's a little bit uncomfortable feeling to me. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's my personal feelings about this one. Our next TikTok is with user Savannah Alley.
Open it. Open it. Go up there.
Fuck that shit. Give me the screwdriver. You close it back up.
This isn't necessarily even remotely paranormal, but it does not feel great. I think that there could obviously be an explanation of it being like some kind of a staircase, easy access to an attic. However, when you find a random set of stairs, especially one that's like so absurdly placed, it makes it very eerie and just comes across immediately like paranormal or haunted. It gives you that creepy feeling. I do not blame him for not wanting to go up there, but also I'm curious. I want to see what's up there. I mean, I have no stake in this. I'm on the other side of a phone. Nothing can happen to me. But I want to know what's up there. If that were my house, I would be unable to sleep until I figured out what was up there, because let's say that there's someone living in your attic or something and they're like, well, it seems like they can't actually get out of there because she is handing him a drill to seal it shut again. But still, it's like, even knowing that technically they can't get out of there because it's drilled shut, I would not be able to sleep until I have the premises searched and confirm that there's not someone living up there. Or like, I don't know, that maybe it wasn't once used as like a jail cell or torture chamber for someone. I don't know. That's where my mind goes when I see something like that in my house that I feel like shouldn't be there. Risk. So our next TikTok is with user Mr. Ballen. Now normally he's telling other people's stories, but in this TikTok he is telling us a creepy story of his own.
Wait till you hear what I saw in my bed last night. So I sleep in a different room than my wife because I sleepwalk. I have for a number of years. I most nights leap out of bed thinking somebody's trying to kill me and I will bolt to the door. As you can imagine, that's very disruptive for my poor wife. And so a few years ago, we just started having me sleep in the guest room, and you know, that's the way we've done it. So last night was no different. Here's the room I'm sleeping in. It's the guest room. I sleep right here. There's a pillow that separates me and where my dog typically sleeps right there. She just bolted out of the room, but she normally sleeps on that blanket right there. And this is where I sleep. And so last night I go to bed at about 9:30 and I wake up at about 10:30, somewhere in there. And normally, again, when I sleepwalk, it's like in the first hour after I fall asleep and I'm like out of bed running. But I woke up at like 10:30 and I didn't do that. I just sort of suddenly woke up. It's dark in my room. There's no noise machine on. And I look over towards the bathroom, which is that one right there. It's hard to do it in the camera right there. This is the bathroom, okay? I look towards the bathroom. The door is open and I see there is like a figure standing right there, like a person. And I just told myself I must be sleepwalking. Now, I don't hallucinate when I sleepwalk, but I have enough sleep disturbances that I'm thinking, okay, I gotta be sleepwalking, that's all this is. And I'm staring at this figure in the bathroom, and they're like right here, and they appear to be staring at me or something, and I'm looking over at them, and they vanish behind this door, and they just kind of disappear. Candidly, I wasn't overly frightened. I was like, okay, you know, I'm accustomed to weird stuff in my sleep. That's all this was. My mind's playing tricks on me. No big deal. So I don't even get up to investigate. I just go back to sleep. However, by about 11 o'clock, I wake up a second time. Historically, I do not sleepwalk twice in a night. It is always one time, really pronounced, usually in the first hour after I fall asleep. I fell asleep, around 9:30 or so. Now it's 11 o'clock and I'm waking up for a second time. So statistically, it's not sleepwalking. I wake up, I'm right here on my back. My dog Maggie's right over there. She's asleep. And I'm laying there and I'm not jumping out of my bed running. I'm just laying there. The room is dark. There's no noise machine on. It's just like still. And I just have this weird feeling that, I don't know, something just feels weird. And I look over at the bathroom again. There it is. And no one's there. And I'm just like, what's going on? What's happening? And I start to feel something rubbing against the side of my left thigh. I'm on my back right here, right? And I'm thinking like, is that Maggie, my dog? And I look and Maggie's right next to me. So that would be the side she'd be on. But Maggie's not moving. She's dead asleep. And I'm thinking maybe it's like the pillow next to me. Maybe she's pushing against the pillow that's touching my leg. But no, she's completely still. There's nothing moving. And as I'm looking at Maggie, I'm feeling this thing kind of almost moving down my leg. I'm feeling something distinctly against my leg, sort of moving down. And I'm like, what is that? And I'm thinking about the figure I saw in the bathroom a little while ago. I'm starting to get scared. So I jump out of bed. I flip the light on. My covers are kind of flipped like that. And I'm standing right here and I'm sort of surveying the room and looking at my bed like, am I sleepwalking? Like, what's happening here? Maggie's still totally asleep. And I notice there's this lump under my covers right about here. And it's not moving. It's just a lump right here. And I'm staring at it because it's about in the same place where whatever it was touching my leg. And it sort of moves a little bit. And I'm thinking, oh, it's got to be a cat. A cat got in my room. I have 4 other cats. It's totally possible one of them got in here. And I'm like, oh, phew. And so I reach down and I begin to lift the blankets up to see which cat it is. And when I do, this lump, it quickly kind of bolts to the other side of the bed, still under the covers. And now it's like right over at that far corner there. And it moved so quickly that I have sort of geriatric cats. I have 1 kitten, but it wouldn't have been her. I'm thinking it must be the other 3 cats that are older that would make that big of a lump. The kitten's too small. And I'm thinking like, they can't move like that. I've never seen my cats move like that. And so I'm now hesitating, but I'm like, I gotta see what's under here. And so I grab the cover again, and I'm pretty scared, honestly, at this point. I don't know what this thing is. I'm thinking like, did a raccoon get in here? And all at once, I flip the covers up, and I look into the corner of the bed, and in that corner, looking at me, is a pair of eyes, looking right at me, and then they just sort of disappear on the backside of the bed. And I'm like, was that a cat? What was that? And I run over here, and there's nothing. Like, there's nothing here. I look under the bed. There's nothing down there. There's nothing. There's no explanation for it. I gotta be honest, I'm still sort of freaked out by it. I'm convincing myself that I must have been sleepwalking and hallucinating because I do have crazy stuff that's happened in my sleep. This felt real. So, aliens.
The idea of some unknown creature being in your bed is terrifying, especially, I'm no stranger to having an animal in my bed. My son Oscar, he sleeps in my bed every single night. So, if I get kicked in the middle of the night or I feel something moving around in my bed, my first thought is obviously it's him. But going from the thought of, oh, it's just Oscar like kicking me or whatever, to then realizing that it's not him and it's some strange monster, potentially, would send me spiraling. I don't think I would sleep soundly ever again in that bed, because what the heck? Like, that's scary. And not only is it like something that can't be explained, he saw eyes too. It's not just like something is moving and he never saw it. He saw eyes and then it just disappeared. I would never be sleeping in that room again. Our next TikTok is by the user Lante Scary Lives, who shows us this very, very frightening TikTok. The words he puts on the screen say, "Scary ritual went wrong. She appears on cam but vanishes IRL." I'll be honest, the first time I watched this, I kept looking away and squinting my eyes because I was so afraid of something scaring me and jumping out. This is very clearly for entertainment purposes only, but it is quite unsettling. I genuinely had to watch it multiple times to ease myself into it, because as much as I love the paranormal and scary stuff, I hate that feeling of doom you get when you watch certain videos like this, because your fight or flight genuinely kicks in. While this may not be an authentic video and it's just for entertainment, it certainly gave me a bit of a fright. Our next TikToks with user Lauren Ray XVX.
I saw my dead brother while I was vacationing in Italy, and I'm going to tell y'all the story. Now, I know this is going to sound crazy, and I know I'm going to sound crazy when I tell y'all this, but just bear with me. This is not something I would lie about. This 100% happened, and I wasn't the only one who saw him. So we were in Italy for a total of 7 days, and during those 7 days, we stopped in several different cities, and we would stay like a night or two in each city, so that way we could like tour and kind of look around and everything. This particular story happened in Manarola, I believe is how it's pronounced. It's a coastal city, so it's like right on the water. And the goal of this day was we were going to walk around Manarola, take a ferry ride to a different city that was like across the way, and it would be the end of the tour. So before I continue with the story, I'm going to give y'all a little bit of context as to how my brother passed. My brother passed last August in Austin, Texas. He went cliff jumping at Lake Travis with some friends, and I guess he just hit the water wrong. It either knocked the breath out of him and he just couldn't recover, or he ended up drowning. Still not sure. Honestly, don't know if I ever want to know fully. But yeah, that's what happened. He was cliff jumping. Remember that. So back to the original story. We were meeting with our tour group so that way we could all line up for the ferry ride. And I'm going to show y'all exactly how the layout was of this city, just so you can kind of get an idea. So this was the view of where we were standing in the city area before we started walking down towards the water and like towards where the ferry was. So it's literally like city and then drop off, and then there's water, and then there's a bunch of like little rocks in the, or not little, ginormous fucking rocks in the middle of the water, and people were like climbing on top of them and like jumping off of them. You get the gist. Now, if you went down the cliffside, they had built in a staircase so that way you could walk down closer to the water and take like a little pathway towards where the ferries were. This picture isn't the best, however, it is the only picture that I have where it kind of shows everything. So if you look right underneath here, this is the staircase where we were at to lead to the ferries. And if you look right here, there's a giant fucking rock right in the middle facing the staircase. So it was my mom, my dad, and my little sister and me. My mom wasn't really watching any of the people jump off of the rocks because it just hurt too much for her to watch. So she was turned around. She didn't see any of this. However, my dad and I both were watching people jump off of this rock, okay? And the top of this rock was completely eye level to where we were standing at on the stairs. So we were pretty much like standing in front of the people that were on top of this rock about to jump off. So, you know, we watch a couple of people at first jump off and everybody's like having a good time, whoop-de-woo. And then I see this one guy get on the top of the rock. And I'm tearing up because I remember exactly how he looks. So this guy gets on the top of the rock. He's waiting to jump, but there's like a couple of people in front of him. But I end up making eye contact with this man. And I was like, that's Jaden. Like, that's my brother. And I said it out loud. I was like, that's Jaden. And I turned around to my dad. And I was like, does that not look like Jaden? And he looks and he's like, holy shit, that's Jaden. So I'm not the only one that saw this. And the guy looked exactly how my brother looked on this day. This was for my 21st birthday. We went to Mexico, and this was in one of the cenotes. They lost all of our swimsuits and stuff like on the bus, and he ended up just jumping into the cenotes like in his underwear. Like, it was one of the funniest memories on that trip. And the dude on that day looked exactly like how my brother looks in this picture. Like, I kid you not. On top of that, my brother had a very distinct Mac Miller tattoo on the front of his right thigh. Like, I haven't seen many people with that tattoo. And the guy that was jumping off of the rock had the exact same fucking tattoo in the exact same spot. Anyways, after I turn around to my dad and I bring it to his attention, I turn back around to the rock and I look at this guy who I can only assume is my brother, making eye contact with me. And he just smiles. And then he jumps off the rock. After that happened, we had to wait in that area for about 20 minutes for the ferry to arrive. And I sat there and I watched that rock for 20 straight minutes. When I tell y'all, that dude never came out of the water. He never got back up on the rock to jump again. He never swam to a different area. Like, I didn't see him. It's like he jumped into the water and he vanished. I know it sounds crazy, but I kid you not. Like, this man jumped and we didn't see him again. And even my dad asked, he was like, do you see him? Do you see him? Literally, like, never saw that man again. He jumped and just, like, fucking disappeared. And look, I'm not religious, okay? Like, I grew up in church. I'm not gonna get into my fucking religious trauma right now. I don't go to church. I don't necessarily believe in, like, an organized religion or a God, but I do believe that there is a higher power out there, and I do believe in energies and guardian angels, and I fully believe that that was my brother's guardian angel. If not, like his energy was there, like, it was there. And that whole trip was, like, for his birthday, because his birthday is on June 14th. So originally that whole trip was for his birthday and also to celebrate, like, our graduations from college. And this happened 3 days before his birthday. So I feel like if that was him, I think that that was his way of just, like, kind of letting us know that he was there, like, that he was there and that he was also enjoying the trip. I don't know. It was so fucking crazy. But it also kind of makes me feel a little more sane knowing that I wasn't the only one that saw him. Like, my dad, deadass, was like, that looks exactly like Jaden. And the fact that, like, the dude just, like, disappeared. It's like, bro, that wasn't some, like, twin or, like, look-alike. Like, that was him. Like, I'm fully convinced. Call me fucking crazy, but, like, that was him. People tell me all the time, like, I don't know how you do it. Like, you're the strongest woman that I know because, like, you're handling such a tough loss, like, so much better than I would have handled it. But truth is, like, I still have really hard days. But I feel like that was something that was very healing for me. Because it's like, I don't know. It was his way of just, like, letting us know that, like, he's good. And that he's still around. But yeah, a few days later, we ended up celebrating his 25th birthday while we were still in Italy. And we just knew that he was really excited for the trip. And I think that's his way of letting us know that he had fun. And that he was glad that we were having fun. So, yeah. I love you, Jaden.
I definitely think he was there to give them a sign. I don't think it is any coincidence that it was supposedly his birthday trip and the guy was doing the exact same thing that her brother passed while doing. I really do think it was him, you know, popping in a way that he could, saying hi, making his presence known, and I think it could have been a very therapeutic moment for them to see him make eye contact, seem happy, be seen doing something he enjoyed doing. Unfortunately, it's so scary how things like that, where people go cliff jumping all the time, and while it could be dangerous, it's not inherently dangerous. It's a very common activity to do on vacations, and it's not like people are dropping like flies from this activity left and right. So it's a really frightening thing when you hear about an activity that usually goes right and all of a sudden it doesn't this one time. It's like really reminds you of the fragility of life, that you can just be doing something that you have no worries about. It's just something fun to do. You are expecting to continue on with the rest of your day and have no idea that once you do this one activity, that's it. And I think that's what I really get from this video. Once again, I definitely think that it is him and he was popping in and saying hi, but this whole story, I keep circling back to the fact that he probably had no thoughts of what if I don't make it out of this or whatever, because it's a normal activity that people participate in. And while it does lean more towards the dangerous side than other activities people do regularly, it's still not something that you necessarily go into thinking that you're not going to make it out alive. So just the idea of expecting your day to continue after this and having plans and then it just gets cut short is such a frightening thing to think about. Quite honestly, that concept is why I had to start taking anxiety meds, because the threat of impending doom from regular activities, it weighs heavily on me, believe me. So this story kind of like stirred that back up in me, but I really do think it was him, and I think it was kind of just a nice way for him to join them, even if it was just for a moment and from a distance. Our next TikTok is by user Robert Tolpe.
When they dream of this guy, the same guy all the time.
That is a drawing of me or someone who looks exactly like me. I was tagged in this video today and my jaw hit the floor when I saw it, and it sent me down a rabbit hole. I found like 4 videos from 2021 using this drawing, and I was very confused because there were so many TikToks that used this image, but I could not find who first drew the image. Part of me wants to believe that this is a prank, but I'm not famous enough for somebody to go through the effort of making multiple TikToks and spreading this around the internet. But what's extra creepy is back in 2021 when these videos were being made, I was really into astral projection, and I never really believed in it, but every night when I went to bed, I would have like 5 separate random dreams, each with a different person in it. I would be the only one aware that I was dreaming, and I would try to tell the other person in the dream like, hey, this is a dream. And I didn't think much of it, and I stopped doing that for years. And then suddenly I'm finding these videos showing a drawing of my face. Or like, is it my face? Am I going crazy here? Like, this is a picture of me. Am I not wrong? Like, this is going to drive me insane. What do I even do in response to this?
Genuinely, I don't think that sketch could be of anyone but him. Like, it looks so identical that it has to be him. And, you know, at first it's like, what, how? Like, it's probably like a crazy coincidence. But then when he's talking about the astral projection, I'm like, no, like, that has to be him. Like, he must have come in contact with these people and they saw his face in their dream. I really don't think that there's any other explanation for this. That's him. It is this guy. It has to be. Everything down to like the way his hair swoops in the sketch and in real life is identical. Like, yeah, his eyebrows, even though it's just a black and white sketch, somehow it's like the gleam in his eyes is identical. It's very weird how close this. I mean, there are police sketches that compared to the actual person that committed the crime are very far off. And this is way more accurate than a lot of police sketches I've seen. This is crazy. I definitely think he reached these people in his astral projections. Our next TikTok's by user Voice Butler.
I got a call from my daughter's school, but she was sitting right next to me. So I was driving home with my daughter after picking her up from school. We were laughing, talking about her day. Everything felt normal. Then my phone rang. It was the school. I asked her maybe she left something. But the voice on the other end said, your daughter hasn't been picked up yet. I looked at her sitting beside me confused. I said, she's with me right now. It was silence, right? Then a voice said, that's impossible. She's standing right here. My heart did drop. So I pulled over, looked at my daughter. She looked back at me terrified. I asked the caller to describe the girl. They did. Same clothes, same backpack, just about the same face. I didn't know what to say. I told them to keep her there and that I was coming back. But when I returned to the school, they said no one was here. No girl, no call, nothing. And to this day, I don't know who I was driving home with. I still don't know who I brought home that day. It looked like my daughter.
That is terrifying. I mean, if I were him, I would not head back to that school and be like, whoever you have is not my daughter. But also, what if the one that you have is not your daughter? I'd be questioning everything. It'd be like that episode of Hannah Montana where you can't figure out which one's like the evil cousin Lou or Luann, I think was her name. You can't figure out which Hannah's the real Hannah. That's like, that's exactly what's happening here. So I wouldn't want to go to school because I'd be like, oh my god, who is that? But then also it's like, who's next to me? Which one is the real Hannah Montana? But then also for the school to be involved too, is like the school might think you're insane. Like, did you pick up a strange kid? Like someone you don't know and you're just imagining it's yours? Like, so weird. I would love to know what happened after this. Like, I'd love to know the school's point of view because there can't be two of them. So it makes me question which one's the real one and what are the intentions of the fake one? I'd be flabbergasted if I ever got a phone call like that. Our next TikToks from the user Cursed Clips 99.
Hello? Oh my god!
I don't like any of that, particularly the dog freaking out, because the dog's not freaking out about just anything. Like I always say, believe your dogs when something scares them because they have many more senses than we do when it comes to things like this. Between that and the security footage, I would not be able to set foot in that house without my head on a swivel. I have such a hard time wrapping my head around how people stay in houses and places that are haunted. It's like, I understand you can't just like drop everything and move the second something happens, but I don't know, like it takes me to the time that there was once in my old apartment a cockroach sitting outside of my front door. I could not work up the courage to kill it because that meant that I had to approach it. I was fully prepared to sleep in my car that night. Like it was 11 p.m. I was taking Oscar out for his last pee break of the night and I returned to a cockroach in front of my door. And I was prepared to sleep in my car because I couldn't get near it to do anything about it, to get inside my apartment. So I think the fact that I was willing to sleep in my car to avoid getting near a cockroach, which I didn't, by the way. I don't know where it went. I think it ran down the hall and I just didn't see it. But either way, at some point after me standing outside for like 20 minutes pacing, it disappeared and I snuck back inside and then it reappeared in front of my door. So I know it didn't go in my apartment. And then I slightly cracked the door open and sprayed it with bug killer and then it died. So it ended up being fine. But moral of the story is the fact that I was planning to sleep in my car because I was that deathly afraid of getting near a roach tells me that I wouldn't react in a house haunting situation much better than that, if at all. Because when I am in true terror, I can't get myself to like move an inch further towards the fear. I would not be living in that house. I don't know. I would just move into my parents' house and wait for my lease to be up or I don't know. I couldn't do it. So major props to people who live in places like this, like all these stories we hear, like part 10 of my haunted house story. I'm like, I would have left after part 1. Our next TikTok's with user Taryn Delaney Smith.
A few weeks ago, I moved into a manor built in 1791, and as of today, I can no longer deny that it is definitely haunted. And I'm okay with it. Let me tell you why. I'm gonna tell you the story. Take it how you will, but I swear to God, it's 100% true. 8 days ago, I was in the shower and I took off my wedding ring thinking, I don't wanna drop this down the drain, let me take my wedding ring off. But of course, I dropped the wedding ring as I was taking it off, my wedding band to be specific. And I heard it tink, I heard it hit the ground, but before I could grab it, it was gone. And I realized very quickly it had gone down the drain. I was so sad. I didn't want to believe that it went down the drain, so the first thing I did was I turned the water off, I got on my hands and knees, and I touched every inch of the bottom of the shower because it has a tile on it. It has a design that might have made it hard to see a ring, although it's the band. And I touched all the bottom of the shower and it was certainly not there. So trying to stay calm. Later that day, my father-in-law took the top of the drain off, took it off, went in, and he and I are both looking down the drain, and he goes, yep, I can see the ring. I could see it too. It's in the trap, which apparently it's in a trap. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It was in the well of the drain and he could see it, okay? Father-in-law like goes to a hardware store to get a tool to get it. After an hour of trying, he just cannot get the ring out. And the more he messes with it, the harder it is for us to see. And then soon he was like, I'm sorry, I can't get this out. I called a plumber to come and get it out on Monday. Monday comes, the plumber gets in there. He does all this stuff. He tries to suck it out. But unfortunately, he comes back and he was like, I was not able to get the ring and now I can't even see the ring. I'm so sorry, but I think it went deep down into your pipes. I think the ring is gone. I'm so sorry. I was sad. My own fault. I dropped my ring down the drain. I'm gonna put you down for this next part. I'm gonna put you down. 8 days goes by. We're using that shower every day, twice a day sometimes. Every day. Today is my wedding anniversary. Last night, my husband and I opened a bottle of wine and we watched our wedding video and then we slow danced to our wedding song in the living room. And I remember noting if there are any ghosts in this house. By the way, I talk to the house all the time because I believe in ghosts. Y'all didn't need to prove me anything. I knew that we're good. I knew that. I digress. If there are any like ghosts or spirits here, I hope that it's like nice for them to watch our love story unfold. I don't know, I thought it was sweet. This morning, today, my husband goes, T. I said, what? He said, your wedding band is just sitting on the floor of the shower. He goes, it's been there the whole time. What? How'd we miss that? Because we didn't! Because the house gave it back. Thank you for having me, my father-in-law, my husband, everybody in town in the shower. You're gonna tell me, you're gonna look me in my face and tell me that we just missed the ring just sitting there next to the drain? Yeah, you can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to me. I'm not freaked out because these ghosts, they're rooting for me. They're my friends. I love y'all. Thank you. And I'm gonna take care of the house. Don't you worry. We're a team. I can't believe I'm saying it, but my house is haunted and I'm friends with the ghosts. Catch you later.
We love supportive ghosts. See, as I'm saying, like, I would be so afraid of being in a house and I could not be there anymore. It's a different story if they're like, you know, just house buddies, like doing nothing to harm you. If they are helpful and they mind their own business, like, sure, you have every right to be here if you are reasonable. But like the evil stuff, that's what I'm talking about. Like the evil ghosts, those are the equivalent of cockroaches in my mind. Also, from the looks of it, her house is stunning. I love old homes. I love that she respects them and they seem to respect her, and them retrieving her ring is essentially like a, hey, we acknowledge you, like we appreciate you, and we're on your side, girl. Like, let's just both mind our own businesses and we'll all be happy. I really feel like that is what was being said there. Our next two TikToks are with the user I am Kayla IRL, who tells us some of her ghost stories. And before we get into this, I want to preface that I love her. This is her like second account, but I follow her main account, which is where she talks all about manifestations. She's a manifestation coach. I love her. If you don't know already, I am huge into manifestation. I believe in it wholeheartedly, and my whole life essentially revolves around manifestation and positive thinking. So I love her, and I love that she has now shared with us some ghost stories.
I hope you guys like a good ghost story, because I have about 1,000,001 of them. One of the things I really wanted to do with this account was make a series where I tell all the ghost stories about the haunted house I grew up in. So this is going to be part 1, which is the story of the mimic of my mom. A little backstory. The way that I view entities or spirits in the law of assumption is like, if you assume that something is real, you're going to experience it. If you assume it's not real, you're not going to experience it. That's how I kind of view it, I guess, looking back. And that being said, I grew up in a so ghosts are real household, to the point where we would go ghost hunting with my mom's whole family. We would use like EVP recorders. We'd watch ghost hunters every week. We were like into it, guys, like going on ghost tours with the Queen Mary, like the whole 9 yards. Being said, I very clearly experienced a lot of ghost activity growing up. I apologize in advance if I get some of the terminology wrong. I'm not 100% like super fluent in like the terminology of the different entities. There's basically a mimic of my mom in our house. And at my mom's house, it was me, my sister, and just my mom, because my parents were divorced. This mimic was so normal for us to have around. Like, we would just casually mention it. A lot of times if my sister and I were just at home alone and my mom was gone or something, we would like hear our mom calling us, or we would see her walk by really fast, and we would just kind of like be like, oh wait, did she get back? And we'd look at to see if her car was there, and if her car wasn't there, we'd be like, oh yeah, it's a mimic of mom again. Like, that's how normal it was. The thing I'll say about this mimic was like, it looked like my mom, but like a little bit different. For example, like when it walked by, it would like move a little bit faster, a little bit like weirder than a human would. Or the one time I saw its face, or the few times I saw its face, her eyes were like really wide, like that. Oh, I have chills. Oh my god. Also, like, her smile was really wide, and she looked like my mom, but like creepier. The thing I will say is like, we're not crazy, okay? So I didn't always try to just be like, oh, it's a ghost. Like, anytime I heard like any little sound, like I really did try to explain it away. So like if I saw her walk by really fast, I'd be like, oh, that was my hair, like out of the corner of my eye or something like that. Or, oh, I was just hearing things, she wasn't really calling me, like stuff like that. These were the 2 times that I want to tell you about that we really couldn't explain away. The first time was the creepiest one. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna try my best to explain how this is set up so it makes sense. Basically, my mom in her bathroom and her master bedroom, she has her master bedroom right here, let's say, and then she has an archway and then a hallway right here, and it leads to her master bathroom. In her master bathroom, she had this whole wall of like, the whole thing was a mirror basically. She had a vanity that would face this mirror. So that meant if you were sitting at the vanity facing the mirror, then if you looked in the mirror, you could see the whole hallway behind you and into her master bedroom. Okay, so I'm sitting at the vanity as a teenager, doing my makeup, looking at her little vanity mirror, like a different magnified one she had on the vanity. And out of the corner of my eye, in the mirror that was like in front of me, like the whole wall of the mirror, I see her like peek out like this slowly, oh my gosh, from behind the arch, and smile. And I was like, Mom, stop. Here's the thing though. Mom was like a fun person, so I thought she was just pranking me or something, or like playing a joke on me. So I was like, Mom, stop. Like, she just kept staying like this, and I didn't really like look at her fully. I was kind of like, Mom, oh my god, stop. So I look up in the mirror, and it was my mom, but like creepy. Like, her eyes looked a little weird, like I said, wider, her smile looked wider, like, and I like jumped, and I turned around really fast to like look down the hallway, and she's not there. I run, go find her. She's like, what are you talking about? I asked her about it, basically, like, are you staring at me, or were you just looking at me? And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, I've been downstairs the whole time. I was like, oh, well, I just saw that like weird mimic ghost thing. And she's like, what? And the other time, my sister and I still talk about to this day. We were sitting at the living room watching a show, and like by the living room there's like this little hallway that led to a bathroom, and you could see it if you were sitting on the couch in the living room. My sister and I are watching a show together, and we see, both of us see our mom walk by, go down the hallway, turn on the light in the bathroom. The light literally turned on, close the door, and that was it. So after our show ended, we kind of noticed, we're like, wait, she's been in there for a long time. Is she still in there? We should go check on her, right? So we go walk over, we knock on the door, we call our mom's name, she didn't answer, and we're like, are you okay? And we open the door, and there's no one in there. The light is on, the door is closed, no one's in there. And again, we try to be logical. I was like, oh yeah, whatever, like, you know, she probably walked by, we didn't see her. Go around and look for her. We're like, Mom, and she was completely in a separate room, like not even in there at all. We're like, did you go in this bathroom? She's like, what are you talking about? I've been in this room for like an hour. I think she like left the house at one point and like came back or something. I can't remember, because this was like, I mean, 20 years ago, maybe not 20, like 15 years ago. We're just being a long time ago, but yeah, she wasn't there. And there was no way that could have been her. So it was really weird. That is the story about how we would see a mimic of my mom all around our house. This is part 1. Like I said, if you guys like this, I would love to tell more stories about the ghosts in our house, because we had so many, and this is just my mom's. We have so many ghost stories about other places we went, or about my dad's house. And so if you're interested, I would definitely make more parts of this, but this was something I was really excited to share with you guys. I hope you liked it. I hope you guys love spooky stories, because I have a good one for you. You guys really liked the first one about the mimic of my mom, so I have another story for you, and this one actually does not take place in my mom's haunted house growing up. This took place when I lived in a very haunted place in Texas. Little backstory, I used to live in Texas back in the day on a military base. That's where Xander's like first, I would say, like year-ish of life was. We moved out there when Xander was like 7 months old, and we ended up leaving when he was almost 2. During the time we were there, it was haunted as fuck. And let me tell you something. it really wasn't about the actual house because I lived 2 separate places. One was off base, one was on base. Both were haunted. I really think it was my energy because, just to give you some context, like, it was a really bad time in my life. It was a really bad relationship I was in. I was miserable. It was horrible. I experienced a lot of weird things because of that. So we'll start with when I lived in an apartment off base first. I noticed weird stuff happening. Like, I just noticed I felt weird in there. I noticed, like, I would just like hear things or see things. So the first thing that happened was I heard someone knocking at the door. It was so crazy. As soon as I said that, like, my fridge made a sound. I was like, ah, scared myself. Okay. I hear knocking at the door one time and I'm alone with Xander. Xander's napped. I'm like, what the heck? I look out the peephole. There's nothing there, but it was like audible. Like, it was like loud knock. I'm like, what the hell? Okay. So I go up to the door and again, no one's there. So I walk away. I'm like, that was so weird. Maybe that was like a neighbor because, you know, in apartments, there's like sounds all the time. So I check on Xander and stuff. It was maybe like 5 seconds, probably less. I hear knocking again. It's like, knock, 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 knock. I'm like, what the hell? I look again. There's no one there. I'm like, so I turn, all I did was just step back from the door and I hear, like, the second the second that I stepped away from the door, I'm like, what the fuck? I look through the peephole and I have chills. There is this man, but like half of his body was like see-through, like gone. It was like a floating, like he was like the height of like if a man was standing there, but it was only like the top half of his body that I could like see. And the second half was like invisible, like gone. And I knew it was obviously like a ghost or something, but I was like, what the fuck? So scared. Nobody believed me at the time, by the way. Everyone was like, whatever, kid. It was so weird. This time really scares me. But another time I had like the video baby monitor for Xander in his room. And when I kept hearing these like sounds and I went to check it and I saw this like creepy hand with really long fingers. And it was like an all black figure standing by his bed. So I grabbed him and I only kept him in my room ever from then on. Okay. I was like, what the hell, this place is haunted. And my ex at the time did not believe me. He was like, oh my God, you're so annoying. Like, you're so crazy. But I go out of town with Xander for his first birthday. I come back after his first birthday. All the doors are closed. Everything, like, I don't know. There was like a cross up, I think. I'm like, did you see something? He's like, no, I don't want to talk about it. So he obviously saw something. Okay. Then we go back to when we move on base right after that. We live in this house on base. It gave me weird vibes. Definitely kind of like creeped me out. I don't know. Something about it was just the energy was weird. Wait a second. I forgot a story at the apartment. Hold on. Backtracking a little bit, okay? My sister came to stay with us over the summer before everything happened with like us moving on base, okay? My sister stayed with us for like a month so I could see her because she loves Xander and we're like BFFs. Okay? Came and she's staying with us and she was like, did X, we'll give him a name, John get up with Xander last night? And I'm like, no. She's like, yeah, I didn't think he would. He sucks, by the way. That's why she said that. He never did anything for the kids, okay? For context, that's why she was like so confused. And so she's like, I didn't think it was him because I know he never like does anything, but like I saw a person, and I go, of course, he was in the military. Okay, so she said she saw a man because she heard Xander crying in his room, and she was sleeping on an air mattress in the living room. She said in the middle of the night, she heard Xander crying, and she saw a man in a military uniform in the middle of the night get up and walk to Xander's room and start singing to him. And then Xander just stopped crying. So she's like, I was going to get up and check, like, if you didn't, because I didn't know if you just didn't hear him or something, but I thought John go in there and take care of him. So, like, I didn't really, like, think anything of it. I was like, oh, he's got it. Okay. But I was so confused because I was like, wait, like, I don't think that's something he would do. Embarrassing looking back at what okay. So that really freaked me out because, like, I know for a fact he wouldn't have done that. Like, John wouldn't have done that. Also because there's no way he would have, like, gone to work in the middle of the night. So it was just very weird. I don't know if, and by the way, the person who knocked on the door was, like, in a military uniform as well. The disembodied, like, half disembodied person was, in a military uniform. So I don't know if that was like the same spirit, but my sister was like, oh my God, that reminds me of like when I heard the guy knocking on the door. She's like, yeah, I wonder if it was the same thing. Pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure my sister saw the thing with like the long claw thing, the dark figure in Xander's room as well. Anyway, then we move off base, okay? Just noticed like weird little things, like nothing crazy. It really wasn't as bad as the apartment. I didn't see like the black figure or anything at this house, but there's one time that freaked me out. So it was like the middle of the night. Xander had gone to bed hours and hours ago and I was alone with Xander in the house. I say middle of the night, I mean it was like midnight, 1 o'clock or something, okay? And so I'm getting ready to go to bed, but I had again the video monitor in Xander's room. I hear this laughing, like a little girl laughing. It sounded like a little girl, I guess a little kid, like laughing very loudly, like it sounded close. So I thought it was coming from the baby monitor and I'm like, what the heck? Like, did he get up? And if so, like, why is he laughing? And I was like thinking maybe it was kids outside because I could hear kids playing. There's a lot of kids on the baby. I first obviously checked the baby monitor. Xander is like completely asleep. So then I'm like, okay, maybe is kids outside, even though it's the middle of the night. Like, that's very weird. I go look outside. There's absolutely zero kids. Like, no, nobody's outside, obviously. I'm like, when? But I go back inside and then I'm like, I open Xander's door. He's completely asleep. Like, I checked the whole house. No one's in there because this is how loud and like very audible it was. And I'm like, that's so weird. So I close Xander's door. As soon as I close it, I hear the freaking loud, I have chills again. I have the loudest laughing little kid. And I'm like, what the heck? Again, I open Xander's door really fast. He's not laughing. Obviously, he's like completely asleep. There's like no one in the house. I checked everything. I checked the closets, everything. I'm like, what the heck? I close the door again and there's no laughing. I go to bed. I think I heard it one more time. I'm pretty sure this happened so long ago. Like, my son's about to be 12, like in a few days. And so this happened when he was like less than 1. That's why I'm like, I don't remember. Pretty sure I heard it one more time, checked everything again, nothing. So weird. I don't know. And then I remember when I went to leave, I finally just got tired of an obviously not great relationship at the time. And I ended up moving out. And my sister came to help me move. My mom came and I had the kids in the car. I had my daughter at that point. I remember we were going to drive away and my sister's looking in the house. She's like, dude, that has the darkest energy I've ever felt in that house. Like, it looks scary. It looks haunted. Like, I want to leave. I don't want to stay here. And I was like, yeah, me too. And we left. One other thing that happened, I forgot. It wasn't really like ghostly, but it was very weird. Was my sister. It's so funny because she's like sending me all these pictures of Disneyland. She's there right now as I'm talking about her. But it's so funny. Anyway, this other time when I had just moved from the apartment to the house on base, okay, my sister had this dream. I hadn't showed her pictures of it. I haven't showed her the layout of the house. I was gonna like basically FaceTime her. I don't think FaceTime was a thing. I was gonna Skype her like the next day. That's how long ago this was. Next day and show her. But this was like the night that I moved in, and she calls me the next day and she said our grandpa, who had passed away when we were like, I was like 12, I think. And at this point, I think I was like 20. I was like 20, almost. Yeah, I was 20. Said she had this dream where our grandpa's spirit had come and got her in her room and like walked her through the whole house. And he said, we have to protect Kayla in this house. Like, we're putting loving energy in this whole house. And she's like, I saw the whole layout. And I said, describe it to me. Because again, I hadn't sent her any pictures or anything. And she's like, you walk in, it's this, and then you walk into this room, and then there's a kitchen over here. And she described it perfect. And I was like, dude, that is so weird. And so it was just very interesting. I have chills like looking back, but a lot of weird stuff happened there. So that is part 2 of my scary ghost story series. Hopefully you guys like this one. And if you want more, I'll tell you guys more, because I have literally, it is an endless list.
It's so interesting to me that it happens so often that it's almost like normal. It's like, oh yeah, that's the mimic of mom. I don't think I'd ever get to a point where that stuff could be normal to me, where I don't freak out. And that's crazy that it just like happens. And it's like, I wonder what this thing wants. Like, what's the end goal here? Because it's not like upping the ante because they're not scared anymore. Does it just like enjoy the confusion? What exactly is going on here? I don't really understand. And then I think it's so funny. Well, it's not funny that her ex didn't believe her and would call her crazy for it, but it's so funny to me that he like thinks he's all high and mighty and thinks she's like crazy, because it's like, what are you, like seeing ghosts? Like, that's crazy. And then she goes away for the weekend and comes back and he's got all the doors closed and a cross up and he doesn't want to talk about it. Obviously it's because his man ego was hurt, because he was proven wrong that there was something in the house. And I really hope he got what he deserved that weekend alone. I really hope they freaked him out to the level that he deserved. Just, yeah, the disrespect. I also think it's so interesting that there's a man in a military uniform that went in to comfort her son when he was crying in the middle of the night. I wonder how often that's happened. If obviously she wasn't aware of it happening and the only reason anyone knows about this situation is because of her sister, I wonder if it was a regular occurrence, that maybe she didn't have to go and check on him as often as maybe she would have, because this army man took care of it for her without her even knowing. I don't know, it seems like he had good intentions if he was singing and got him to calm down and didn't make the situation any worse, but it is such an interesting thing to hear about. Our next TikToks for these are Golden Rule 15.
I used to do house calls in the hills of the Appalachian Mountains, primarily for people that lived like off the grid. They didn't have telephones, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no GPS. You use a map, you use the compass. And the company that I worked for doesn't exist anymore. I don't work for that company anymore. But all of the stories I have are very interesting, based on true stories. Of course, I have to change some things because of anonymity. But when people say that there are strange things in the Appalachian Mountains, I didn't believe it until I actually worked in the Appalachian Mountains. Here's one of those events, for example. I was en route to a patient's home, and as I said, I have a lot of patients that are off the grid, or they live in very rural communities. So I'm driving down a road and I make a hard turn onto like a side street, I suppose you would say. And there's a single car length bridge. This is important. And I go about 5 minutes past that bridge, and it takes me to another small road where there's a house. Okay, so obviously it didn't take me very long off of the main gravel road to get to this person's house. And like I said, I don't have a GPS, so I really have to pay attention to where I'm going, and how long I've been on this road, and like landmarks, so that I can find my way back. It's the middle of the afternoon, and when I arrive on the property, there's a barn straight ahead at the end of like this drive, and then the house is far set to like the left, and there's like a field in front of the house, right? But it looked like I was supposed to park in front of the barn. That's where the gravel thing ended, so I figured I'd park here and I'll walk to the house. I don't see any other houses around or anything, but I hear that there's people around because I hear like kids playing. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of nice. You know, it's a beautiful day outside. I heard someone call out to me. They said hello, and I, you know, am still getting stuff out of my car, and I say, hello, I'll be there, just, you know, give me 1 second, I'm getting my things out of the car. And then I turn, and there's like a car that looks like it's been parked there for a while, and I know this because there's like weeds and brush growing up around it. And there's a gentleman that's walking out from behind the car. Looks like he was tinkering on it or something. He was wearing like denim overalls, no shirt underneath. Nothing particularly interesting about this guy. And so I turned around and started heading to the house, and I don't see anyone, so I thought they must have said hello and then gone back inside. I don't know, maybe they're getting their medications ready, getting their paperwork ready for us to review it when I get in. And I knocked on the door, and the person comes and collects me, and she said, oh, I didn't see that you had arrived, you're a bit early. And I said, oh, am I? Sorry, thought I heard you call out to me. And she said no, and I was like, okay, fluke, whatever. So we're doing the visit, and we're almost done with the visit. It's still early afternoon, and I get to asking this person I always ask, who do you live with? And she had said, oh, you know, I live alone, and I own like 100 and some acres. And I was like, oh, so like nobody else lives on the property with you? And she says no. And I said, well, I like thought I heard kids playing outside, and I saw a man like doing something with that car out there. Like, does he work for you? And she looked at me and she said, it's out there. And I was like, the car? Yeah, it's out there. It's at this moment I realized that I don't think we're talking about the car. And she goes, you have to go. I'm like, I have to go. I'm like, you know, pardon me, but I'm not quite done yet. And she said, it's going to rain, and if it rains and that pass that you came through, that dirt road, gets wet, you won't be able to leave. And I'm like, it's not going to rain, like it's a clear sky outside. She says, I'll fix you a sandwich. Things are happening quickly, like it's kind of bizarre. We go from having a nice visit and talking to, you need to leave now. And I'm still confused as hell, because she's telling me that she lives on a property where no one else is, and I just literally heard people outside and saw a guy on her property. So like, I'm not understanding what's going on. She's consistently saying like, you have to leave, it's going to rain, you're going to get stuck, you won't be able to leave. Okay, so she hands me a bag. She says there's a sandwich in it. It's like a mesh bag that you keep like potatoes or onions in. She just threw like a baggie in there. She said it was a sandwich. So I'm talking to her while she's making the sandwich, and she's telling me that I need to go get back on the road. And I turn, and it's dark outside. And I don't mean storm cloud dark outside. I mean it's dark outside. It's the middle of the afternoon. And she hastily, I'd say hastily, walks me to the door from which I have come, opens the door, says goodbye, practically pushes me out and closes the door. Now I'm standing in the middle of the afternoon. That was a sunny afternoon, on this person's porch in the pitch black with a sandwich. I still don't quite understand the sandwich. What do you want me to do? You want me to bargain with Paranormal Patrick out here for my life? Exchange a sandwich for the skin that he wants to take off and wear like a glove? Not gonna lie, I'm tweaking out a little bit. I'm like, what is going on? Everything was fine. So, like I said, I have been in interesting situations before. I have no Wi-Fi. I cannot call anybody. My car is parked, remember, across the field next to the barn, past several cars that are parked on this property that I just saw someone walking by, and I see nobody now. So I do what anybody would do. I pretend that I'm walking out of Target. I am unbothered. I keep a steady pace. I do not stop. I keep my head straight ahead to my car. And I can tell you clear as day, there is somebody walking. There is somebody walking parallel to me. And you could, like, I could feel it. Like, I could feel somebody looking at me. Give me goosebumps. I don't know if you can see the goosebumps, but like I can still, oh yeah, you can. I can still remember like somebody's in this field with me. And how the hell is it this dark outside? I'm not gonna lie, I dropped the sandwich. I'm like, I don't care. I'm done. It gets quiet. From the point that I'm walking from the field to my car, it is quiet. No crickets, no frogs, no nothing. But you know what I can hear? The sound of jeans. The sound that denim makes when someone's walking. At this point, I'm like, don't run. Don't run. Don't run. Just keep walking like you're walking out of Target, get to your car and leave. I get to my car, I get back on the road, I start driving. And I'm waiting to see this bridge that I came in on. Because remember, I told you I make note of landmarks, I know how long I've driven on this road because I need to get back to the main road, which means I need to remember how I've come. I'm driving on this road in the dark for like 20 minutes. And there is no main road in sight, and this is the only road that enters this property. Like, that, I couldn't have made a wrong turn. I'm driving down the road. Eventually I get to like this, I wouldn't say brick, it's like this stone underpass bridge thing. I drive under it. It's maybe a little tunnel. I drive under it. It's pitch black on the inside. I get to the other side. It's daytime. And I'm sitting in my car like shaking, trying to make sense of this. Like, how is this possible? Like, weather? No, weather does not explain it. She's like, it's going to rain. There was no rain, okay? That wasn't clouds. That was night, okay? That was night. That was pitch black, middle of the day. I've encountered some strange things on this job, but I can tell you that really felt like being hunted. That was an interesting feeling. And to this day, I still don't understand the sandwich. I don't understand why she was so insistent on making me leave with this sandwich. But it didn't come with me. I dropped it on the way to the car. I was like, absolutely not. This is just too weird. This whole thing is so weird. Now, like I said, I worked this area for quite some time. I kind of knew my way around. I kind of knew what roads were shooting off the main gravel road. I could find my way to different side streets, if you will. And this was the first time I had seen this patient. It's the first time I had been off this road with the bridge. And I actually went back that way to drive past it to see another patient again. And I could not, for the life of me, find this road. Like, it's like it wasn't there. There was like a rock formation, like a part of the mountain that you would drive, you would turn around, and then it would give way to this little road that I got on. And I passed over this bridge and made it to this woman's property. And I never saw that road again. I know you probably think I'm absolutely crazy, but I never saw that road again. The Appalachian Mountains are not for the weak, y'all. I mean, I can't explain it. I know it's kind of an odd story. It's kind of anticlimactic. Nothing happened. But, like, I can't explain it. If you live in the Appalachian Mountains, have you ever heard of something like this happening before? Like, I know it sounds silly, but what do you mean the road's not there?
So something tells me that that guy is not a good spirit hanging around the property. I mean, he could potentially be like a skinwalker. I literally hate saying that word. Or just, you know, one of the things in Appalachia that likes to play tricks on people, pretend to be something it's not, to get you to let your guard down. It sounds like that's exactly what's going on there. I really wonder what the significance of the sandwich was, especially since she dropped it and like didn't have to use it later on, unless maybe somehow that was the goal. I wonder if it was a sandwich. Like, the whole time she's talking about the sandwich and whatever, although she said it was like in like a meshy bag and then inside a plastic bag. I'm trying to think of like, was the plastic bag clear? Was she able to see that it was a sandwich? Did she confirm that it was a sandwich? Or was she told it was a sandwich and maybe it was something else? What if it was like skinwalker bait? and the lady was hoping that by her like walking around with that thing would follow her and like get her instead of the lady. I don't know. But then also it's like, I wonder if that lady's trapped there. Like, what if she can't leave? Maybe that's why she needed a home health care worker. Maybe that's why there's like cars in the field and maybe they're all broken down because she can't leave. I don't know. There's so many layers to this story and we have literally no answers. It just adds to the lore of Appalachia and how it's like everything makes you wonder. This does nothing besides solidify the fact that I have zero intentions of going out into rural Appalachia for any reason. Our next two TikToks are with the user Natalie Taylor.
If you don't like ghost talks, scroll past. Do we all remember the pearl bracelet episode I had where the bracelet had snapped and flung off my wrist? And I think I mentioned that was the 4th bracelet within a week that had snapped on my wrist. Whilst I was in Greece, a anklet I had on, a pearl anklet, I tried to put it on my ankle instead of my wrist to avoid repeat history. It snapped. Genuinely, out of nowhere, right in the middle, not the clasp, snapped again. I just hit the trip. The only thing keeping me calm, and the wild strawberry flavour, is unmatched. I did some Googling and I found out that the symbolic reasoning behind pearl bracelet snapping can be to defer negative energy away, or it's your guardian angels that are coming in to protect you, and the snapping of a pearl bracelet can stop something latching to it. I don't know. I'm not a spiritual person, but I need some answers to it. If anybody could tell me why on earth my bracelets keep snapping pearls, because I don't feel the negative energy around me in my new house, but I'm always cautious. I could put my mind to rest. I'm relying on Trip at the moment to keep me calm, but I could do with some answers as to what symbolic meaning it could be that if there's negative energy around me, why my pearl jewellery keeps snapping. We're talking, would just snap, just whilst I'm sat here. Answers, please.
The ghost encounters, I need to talk about it, and this time it's a really, really positive one. I would like to touch on the fact that I'm no spiritual person. I'm quite agnostic to things. If you want to go look at my ghost stories I've spoke about in the past, some people believe, some people don't. Like I said, I'm not open, I'm not closed, I don't really know what I am. Last week I was on the toilet, in like the main toilet for some reason, and then go to my ensuite, and I was looking at the bath mat on the floor and I saw this big beam of light in the doorway. This story's going to lead on to something really mental in a minute. Anyway, you know when you're looking at the floor, but like you're looking at the corner of your eye, because I didn't want this beam of light to move, so I was just staring down, and I was thinking, what on earth is that, like a really tall beam of light? And I like looked up and it just slowly moved down the landing. So I didn't think anything of it. Ethan's mum, however, is quite spiritual, and she came to stay over. My family had travelled down from Manchester to see us, and we were sat in the garden, and it's the first time my whole family had been to my new house. Ethan has never met my granddad. We got talking about my granddad, who passed away 4 years ago now, and we were talking, and I was getting onto the conversation with Ethan about how my granddad had this really annoying cough. It was a little bit like a like a very noticeable one that everyone knew him for doing. Anyway, Ethan's mum comes over that day to stay over, so my family have left. Me and Ethan go downstairs to decorate for an early birthday surprise for her, and she starts shouting my name. She doesn't know anything that's gone on at this point, so I've rushed upstairs, assuming she's fell out of bed or something. She says the door was just ajar, so I opened a little bit and she saw somebody go past, so she just assumed me and Ethan were running around the landing to get like bits and bobs from the office room to decorate for her birthday. And then she said she kind of like came away from her phone and looked up, and there was a halo that kind of hovered above her and then went out of the room. Anyway, I'm just like, oh, that's really nice. Like, maybe I've got an angel in the house, which makes a change from what I was going through. Anyway, we kind of just let it be, and in the morning she woke up, came over to me when I was in the dressing room, and she said it was really weird last night. I was really hot, but I had this really annoying cough, and the second she did the cough, I went, it's my granddad. I just knew. The literal cough. It was identical. Anyway, I'm currently in Ethan's mum's house, and she does Reiki. I've just had my Reiki done. Obviously, after you've had Reiki, it's something I'm familiar with because I used to have it when I had psoriasis as like a calming mechanism. She's just finished up my Reiki. You discuss after Reiki what you've seen, what she felt, the most random things come up. And she told me she saw arrows, To which I was like, arrows? She was like, took me a while to figure out they're actually a time on a clock. She said it was the arrows of a clock, and 20 to 10 kept coming up. I didn't click of what 20 to 10 was, because that could just be anything. She said it might be a birth, it could have been a death, but I do feel like your granddad came in. I kind of opened up and said to him, okay, come on, come in then. Ethan and his family don't know much about my granddad. He's passed away before I even met Ethan. Then I've come downstairs and I've texted my mum to say, weird one, when did granddad pass away? What time? She said 7:30. So I was like, oh, it was kind of a bit of a kick in the stomach, like maybe it wasn't him. So as I was going back through my text with my dad, as my mum didn't answer the phone when I rang that night to see how he was doing, my dad picked up. I couldn't find the call log, but he texted me at 10 p.m, a picture of my cat to say, Stuart knows we're upset. My mum then replied to say, have just gone back through my messages with dad. He passed away at 20 to 10. And I think that is such a surreal feeling, for whether you want to believe or not, that has just filled me with just so much love. Like, you don't have to believe, but the comfort that brings you is just, yeah. Wow.
In terms of the bracelet, it sounds like maybe the bracelet is just doing its job, protecting her. And maybe the reason why she doesn't feel any kind of negative things coming towards her is just because the bracelet is essentially acting as a shield against them. Either that, or it could just be very bad luck that she keeps getting it snagged on things and doesn't realize what it is. But I do think that it's weird, considering I wear bracelets every day. I don't ever take them off. And specifically, I do have a bracelet that's like, it has elastic and is beads, and I've been wearing it for at least, I'd say at least a year. Absolutely nothing has happened to it. I mean, knock on wood, this is like not even real wood, but knock on wood, nothing's happened to it. But I've never had my bracelets get caught on anything, so it is really weird that she keeps having that experience over and over and over again, when, again, I never take these bracelets off, and I have never had that experience. So it is kind of odd. That's what makes me think that it probably is something more spiritual. And then the story with her grandpa, I definitely think maybe he just wanted to be part of the fun. He wanted to join the family gathering and be a part of it. And I don't think it's any coincidence. I think our loved ones are always around us, even when we aren't getting signs and seeing little pieces of them here and there. I think that they're always around, and sometimes maybe they make themselves more known, whether it's intentional or not, or just some kind of like veil thinning because of a certain astrological thing or time of the year, whatever it may be that causes the veil to thin at that specific time. But yeah, I definitely think that they're always with us and always watching over, and it seems like maybe he just wanted to be remembered and talked about, and that he wanted to be a part of that experience even though he couldn't be there in his physical form. Our next TikToks for these are tings.
One thing I don't see realtors talk about is what happens when they encounter a haunted house. And when I was a new realtor, there was this house that was haunted that I had to try to sell, and it was just a hot mess, let me tell you. So like I said, I'm brand new to the industry, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I started out in Albany, Georgia. This is where the story actually takes place. And before you actually get to Albany, Georgia, there's this long stretch of roads, and it's literally nothing. If you know, you know. So at this point, I was getting assignments from my broker directly because I was brand new. I didn't really have any clientele, nothing like that. So my broker tells me I need to start doing BPOs, and I do a BPO on this house that's literally on an outskirt, middle of nowhere in Albany, Georgia. So I'll never forget my first time I actually took a friend, because I mean, I was a young girl. I think I was about 20 years old when I first started, and I didn't really want to go to these houses by myself. So I had my friend with me. And so we driving down the street, and like I said, it was on this long stretch of road, and we turned right off of that road, and it's another long road, and we're going for a little bit, and all of a sudden the road turns into a dirt road, and I'm looking at the GPS, and the GPS is looking at me, and I'm looking at my friend is looking at me, and I'm like, oh my goodness, we in the middle of nowhere. Mind you, you look to the left and the right, you seeing trees and cornfields, middle of nowhere. So we pull up to the house. Y'all, first of all, this was a beaten down shack. in the middle of the woods. And right across from the house was this large open field. Mind you, this house was sitting on acres. I think it was about maybe 4 or 5 acres that this house was sitting on. And so if you know anything about BPOs, you got to take pictures. So I get the key, I'm unlocking the door, and I obviously don't want to go in by myself because I'm scared. Like, everything is overgrown. The grass is overgrown. The house is basically falling apart, and I was told that they were doing repairs on it. So we walk up in this house, right? And first of all, I'm getting creeped out. Like, the house is creepy. Some walls is painted. Like, you could tell somebody just kind of packed up and moved, but the house is kind of raggedy. It got that old house smell. The kitchen is completely gutted. Like, you walk into the living room, the child's room is on your left, and to the right, I want to say it was the master bedroom. So this is a really small house. Mind you, in the back of that house, there's mold. So, like, it's a lot of problems with this house. So I'm telling my friend, I'm like, hurry up, let's just take the pictures and let's go. Like, I got to get up out of here. So I'm taking my pictures. They taking their pictures. All of a sudden, they go into the master bedroom. I'm in the kitchen. And all I hear is, Edie, come here. Edie, come here. Y'all, why I go into the room, into the closet, and written on the wall, I literally took a picture of this years ago, and I lost the freaking picture. I wish I had the picture. But it says something like, please stay away. This house is haunted. It will break up your family. I can't even lie. I'm like, what is going on? Mind you, I'm already getting a bad feeling. I'm kind of nervous, but I'm like, let's just take our pictures and go. So that's exactly what we do. Fast forward, like I said, I had to keep going back to the house. Now, I'm scared, but at one point, my friend couldn't go with me. So what do? I take my dog. I ain't got nobody else, so I take my dog. We get in the car, and I'm riding. Y'all, I can't even make this up. As soon as we turn down the dirt road, my dog takes his head, puts it back in the window, and starts to get low. I said, why you getting low? What you scared for? So boom, we pull up to the house. I get out the car, and I open his car door. He not trying to get out. Sir, you are the backup. Get out the car. I'm not gonna lie. I pried him out of that car. I did, because I was scared. So I go to the front door, and I unlock it. I look behind me. My dog is literally looking. I'm trying to explain this, but my dog was basically in front of the front door, not quite on the front porch, looking, crouched down low, looking at the house. I'm like, all right, his name was Ace. I was like, all right, AC Poo, come on. He was not budging. I said, come on, Ace, come on. At this point, I'm like, stop playing with me. Get in this house. Help me. Y'all, he wasn't going for it. He ran back to the car and was literally standing outside the car door looking at me like, ma'am. And that's how I know it's real, because dogs be knowing, animals be knowing. I'm like, all right, I ain't gonna subject him to this. So I put him back in the car, and I'm like, let me just hurry up and take my pictures. So I'm going through the house taking pictures, and I just like, you know that feeling that like something bad is gonna happen, like I want to say impending doom. That's just how I was feeling, and I just felt like I was being watched, and I was honestly so scared. I'm not gonna lie to you. And the worst part is there was no service. So I was trying to call my friend, I was trying to call my mama, I was trying to call everybody in the world. Call was failing. Thankfully, I made it out that time without a scratch. But let me tell y'all the craziest thing about this house. It never sold. Like, I noticed I would keep taking pictures and nothing was getting fixed. Like, the men that were supposed to be fixing the house wasn't making any progress. Every single time I would take a buyer to the house, they would never get it. I know some of them saw the message on the wall and was probably like, oh, hecky no. But like, none of them. And even I remember one client actually did put an offer on the house. The deal didn't go through. To this day, I looked at the tax record. That house never sold.
This one's interesting to me because it ties back into the first couple TikToks we talked about. And obviously this is a little bit more of a story than those first two were. But it gives another perspective of, here we have another realtor telling us about the dangers of the job, the hazards of their work, coming across these haunted or unsettling homes. The fact that the dog picked up on something immediately is a huge red flag for me. Again, dogs know what they sense. Trust your dogs because they are more in tune with things than any of us could ever be. If I were her, I don't know if I'd be able to get myself to go back there after reading the writing in the closet. That's just like an immediate, obvious red flag. It's like a red flag slapping you in the face and telling you you need to leave. I mean, I don't know how anyone would buy that house either, seeing that. I guess you'd have to be like very non-superstitious, like one of those people that are like stone cold, don't believe in anything. To each their own. Everyone believes in different things. There's so many different, like, I feel like it's not even a spectrum. It's like just so many different ways of believing things and combinations. To each their own. I could never. And I think it would only be able to be sold to someone who literally does not believe in anything. because I think most people would at least have some kind of weird thing that's like, I don't know about this. So it'd have to be a very specific type of person that would be willing to buy that house, and I think it's almost hard to find that. The next TikTok is from the user Jamara, and she is back with another home healthcare story.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last home healthcare video that I'll be making. I have to double check my book, but around that time I was always writing things down whenever they happen, but I'll have to double check and let you know. So let's get into it. So around this time I was packing a bag about 3 days, sometimes even 2 weeks, and I'll be going to these clients' houses. I was working for this home healthcare company. And so I packed the bag for the 24th, 25th, and 26th of December, and I was at this woman's house. Now I had already been to her house months before. I had been there consistently for months, and nothing ever happened in her house. So here we are. This is a small house. We're up in the living room and we're dancing. She likes to dance. And so we're up there dancing, having a ball. And I noticed a lot of new decoration. I'm like, oh, you've been decorating? She's like, yeah, the other girl, whenever she's on shift, she helps me decorate. I'm like, cool. The doorbell rings. I go to the doorbell. I go to the door. I open the door, and it was my coworker, the woman that she was just talking about. And she brought this chair. And I'm like, you brought a chair? She was like, yeah, it's adding to our decoration. This is something that we like doing together. I'm like, okay, cool. That was sweet. So she brings the chair in. When she brought the chair in, she set it all the way at the end of the hall. And it had this painting that was over it. So I'm like, okay, that's sweet. So we continue our stuff. The lady leaves. We continue dancing. And then the woman wants to get in bed. So I put her in bed. Fast forward to after I put her in bed, I put the motion sensors down just in case she gets up. So the motion sensors started going crazy. And I looked at the camera, and she's laying in bed. She's knocked out. So finally I stand up, and when I stand up to go check and peek my head around the corner, there's this dark figure sitting in the chair that my coworker had just brought into the house. Can't make out if it's a man or a woman just yet, but it was a very dark figure, and I heard stomping, but it didn't sound like feet. And then I look over, and it has like this cane in its hand, just stomping it on the ground, on the floor. So finally I get up, I run over to my duffel bag, and I get my Bible out, and I get to praying. And it's just sitting there looking at me like, and I said, so you just not gonna go? Like, you just not gonna leave? So then once I started to get aggravated, and I started to really be really forceful with the words from the Bible, that's when it stood up and it walked into the bathroom, and then it walked back out. But when it walked back out the bathroom, it did this high jump in the air. Like, okay, what was that about? After it did that little high jump, that weird thing, it disappeared from in front of me. But I heard the motion sensor, so I walked over to the camera. And when I walked over to the camera, I see his face, yes, it was a he, in the camera, and he's pointing at my client. So, of course, I'm aggravated. I go back there and I flick the lights on. I didn't care if she was asleep. I was just worried because I know you ain't here for her. Not right now. Not right now. So then fast forward, I played it off to the woman like, oh, do you have to use the bathroom? I'm so sorry that I flicked the light on like that. And so she's like, oh, no, I'm okay. So she lays back down. Once I go back out to the living room, I get to praying. I get to drawing crosses over all the doors, over all the windows. But next thing you know, I feel something walk behind me. And when I felt it, I turned around, and he's right here in my face, right here in my face. I almost dropped to the floor, y'all, but I couldn't do it because then he'd be thinking that he had one up on me. So that entire night, he would just randomly pop up in my face. He would randomly pop up on the sofa, or he would be sitting in that chair that my coworker brought. Now, this is the scariest part. The scariest part is the fact that right after he left up out of my client's room, I could hear her gasping for air like she needed me. And so I ran in there and I sat her up on the edge of the bed, and I'm like, are you okay? And she said that she said, I'm not ready to go yet. I'm not ready to go. Now, all this time, she's never talked like this. And so I'm just like, you ain't got to go yet if you don't want to. I think what made me more nervous about it is the fact that it was a dark figure that came to collect her. At that point, I was just like, do you want to pray with me? We had never prayed together before, but in that moment, she wanted to pray. So we prayed, right? So fast forward to while we're praying, he just sat down. Like, I wait So I think that scared me too, because what has this woman done in her life that is so terrible to have a dark figure come to collect her and take her somewhere, and not even a prayer can stop it, can stop her from going with him. Now, here's the even scarier part. I got a feeling to look outside. So I went ahead and I looked out the window. And when I looked out the window, there were 2 other dark figures standing on the sidewalk. That scared the crap out of me, because I know y'all better just be here for her. So I hear knocking on the door. Of course, I'm not answering it because I just looked out the window. I saw y'all out there. I'm not opening the door. And so the woman, she starts getting hysterical, and she is like really going crazy. I'd never seen her like this before. And so do y'all know, like, probably not even 24 hours after I left, that woman passed away. She passed away, and in my head, I felt so bad, but in my head, I was thinking like, oh my God, this family gonna think I'm the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like something was coming after her. Something was trying to take her. And I think it was good that she got out of there, because who knows if it would have tried to take someone else in its wake, trying to prevent, I guess, destiny or whatever from happening. Keep in mind, as I tell this, she didn't mention it in this video, she is able to see things. So it's not just like your average Joe who's seeing these things. She is able to see things on a regular basis. I don't remember if she described herself as a medium necessarily, but she's able to see things. So it is a little less crazy than it comes off as. And I do want to point that out because I feel like that's a really important thing to acknowledge here, that she can see things. So that's why but I fully believe all of her stories. It's kind of the same thing along the lines of being a realtor, as you're entering people's homes. And there's also sick people in these homes you're taking care of. Sick people who have also lived long lives, because usually it's elderly people that you're taking care of in home health care. So they've, for lack of better terms, have a lot of emotional baggage on them. And in some cases that can attract spirits. Also, as they're nearing the other side, that opens up the veil. So I'm sure for her, there is a lot of things that she sees on a regular basis doing this job and has to deal with, whereas someone who's less in tune might not notice these things at all. Our next TikTok's from the user Allegra Filippetti.
Anytime I think of this story that happened to me, I get full body chills, so I just have to give you guys a story time. Let's start off by saying that I am not somebody who believes in paranormal activity, ghosts, or anything like that. Just like not my thing. I'm Catholic, I grew up Catholic, and just like, I'm not into it, okay? And you know what? Feel free to tell me that I'm being dramatic. I don't want to believe that this is anything of that sort. I'm good. I'm not the one, okay? I'm seriously not the one. So if you guys think that I'm like being dramatic or whatever, you have some scientific backup for this, I want to hear it. And I do have videos for proof. Let me just give you guys a quick background story. It was my fiance's birthday. He was my boyfriend at the time. This was like in 2022-ish. We had a massive pool party for him at my mom's house. So I was living at my mom's house at the time. I wasn't living with him yet. And I got balloons for him for his birthday, obviously. There was one balloon that just said happy birthday Nat. It was like a helium balloon, I believe. It's like one of those like see-through ones that you can like see through it and there's like confetti in it. So it's a couple days after the party and the balloons are just chilling on the main floor. I want to say it's like 3-4 days after the party. And I am home alone. So I'm in my bedroom, nothing new. Reminder, the balloons have been in this house for like 3 days already. And please just take a look at what happens.
What? The fuck? Oh my gosh, this literally just floated into my room. It literally just peeked its way through my door. It's coming back down towards me. Oh my gosh, I'm really scared.
And mind you guys, my mom's house has 5 bedrooms on the top floor, okay? And I was sending these Snapchats to my friends like in real time as it was happening, just because like I couldn't believe my eyes. I was literally like, how did this one balloon come to my bedroom? I'm the only one home. How did it come to my bedroom of all bedrooms? Like my mom's house is super intricate. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it made absolutely no sense. The staircase is like on the other side of the house. There's 2 staircases to go up. There's walls, there's bends. It's just, it's literal insanity. But that's not even the most of it. Keep watching.
I'm petrified. I'm scared. Like, I'm really scared. I can't move. I'm still. Oh my gosh. It's like facing me. I feel like it's facing me now. My room. This balloon was in my kitchen. I'm too scared to get up right now. I'm scared to get up right now. Like,
And I know what you guys are probably thinking. Allegra, it could have just been the airflow of your house. And little me actually put that to the test. I moved the balloon to a bunch of different rooms just to see if it was airflow. But my family's just not like that. Like, we're not cranking up the AC. We don't have windows open. It's not, that wasn't the case.
Update. I moved the balloon into my mom's closet, but I didn't shut the door completely. But that's like complete different airflow from downstairs. So this is kind of like a test. If it comes back into my room, I'm moving out.
So here I am thinking, I'm never gonna see that balloon again. Like, it's gone now. And in the corner of my eye, there she is.
Guys, I moved it back down. Guys, I moved it back down. Guys, I moved it back down and it's coming back. I swear if it comes in here. Okay. Okay. This is my cue to leave. I'm out. I'm out of here. I'm out. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, we are going to get guys. Guys, if I was still sitting here, this is what I would have seen.
So basically, if I was still sitting in my bed in my original position, watching my computer, this balloon would be right beside me, facing me. What? Okay, and this is the kicker of this entire story, because this is what's leading me to believe that this wasn't just a balloon in my house following me. You can see in that exact same night, I shit you guys not, it was an hour before this whole balloon thing went down. I took a Snapchat in my mirror in my bedroom, and my sweatshirt says the following.
What's that?
Like, do you guys remember when like Kanye West dropped that merch and those sweatshirts were really popular? I can't believe like I was wearing that and then all this shit just happened. It's like, is that just a coincidence? Or am I being crazy? Am I being dramatic? Like, I don't know. What do you guys think of this story? Because anytime I think about it, I get full body chills, like, and just the whole feel of the entire night was just so off. I literally moved out. I literally moved out of the house after that. Super freaky. Let me know what you guys think.
Yeah, so that's just incredibly unsettling in my opinion. At first, I thought it just kind of felt eerie but wasn't necessarily anything. But then towards the end of the video when it like turns to her and then the second time after she puts it away, it still makes its way to her room. I don't know, that's a little bit too much of a coincidence for me. I definitely think there's something strange going on here. And in this video, I'm feeling a little insecure with how much I've agreed with stuff that I haven't been able to debunk a lot of things in the story. I think there are just a lot of authentic videos in this story, but I don't want to come across as someone who's just like easy to jump to ghosts. But I think we've got a lot of these in this video, and I think that this falls into that too. I really think that there is something paranormal going on with this balloon. Something is maybe not possessing it, but moving it around. And I think the fact that it keeps turning so the letters are facing her, it's almost like the letters are its face. And that really weirds me out. It just overall makes me feel uncomfortable, like it's really unsettling. Our next TikTok's with user Stay Lurking.
Has anyone else had paranormal experiences? Because I've had at least 3. So the first one was in high school. I was with a group of friends and then my then boyfriend at the time. we were going to his, like, shore house. And we did have, like, a few drinks that night, but, like, nothing too crazy. It was, like, a pack of seltzers shared between, like, 6 of us. So nothing too crazy. So by the end of the night, everyone's asleep. I'm with then-boyfriend. I have insomnia, so it's very hard for me to sleep. And I was, of course, just scrolling on my phone, just waiting to, like, get tired. So as I'm, like, lying on my side, I can see the door and the hallway light is on. So everything's, like, kind of lit up. So guy's sleeping. He has his arms around, like, my waist, sleeping like that. And I have my one hand here and my phone right here. Tell me why I start getting this feeling on my head. And it's nothing, like, bad. It's literally just, like, my hair was down. And it was just, like, the hand going like that. And I thought it was him, so I didn't really make a big deal out of it at the time. And I was just like, wait a damn second. Wait a damn minute. I did a hand check. Hands here. My hands aren't there. So whose hand is here? But by the time I realized that, it had already stopped. And I'm like, what's there to do now? So I just went to sleep. I just went to bed. And then I talked about it the next morning, and I was going around asking a bunch of people if they did that. Of course, no one did it. I would have seen them come in. I would have heard them come in. I was fully awake, just doing, double checking. And I talked to his mom about it, and she goes, well, his uncle would have done something similar to that, just, like, to mess with the boyfriend. And I'm like, oh, that's literally insane. Well, I never, needless to say, I never went back. Not like it was bad. I'm just like, why are you touching my head? Weird. So then the second story that I have, I wouldn't necessarily label it as paranormal, but a few nights after my mom had passed, like my grandmother had passed, I had a dream. My whole thing is dreams. That's why I have a dream catcher above my bed, because I cannot stop having these, like, crazy freaking dreams. Sometimes there's periods where they're worse than others, but I don't know. So I had this dream where she came through and she was like kind of like a younger version of herself in a way. And as soon as I saw her, I just started crying, and she was just like, why are you crying? I'm okay. I'm okay. Don't worry about me. So that, not really paranormal. I just thought, like, it was like one of my intuition type of voodoo type of things. And then the last one has to be a few months ago, during the last week of finals of our senior year, me and my boyfriend's senior year, we get a call from his mom saying that his dad's in the hospital and that we need to, I have permission to share this story. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So, we stayed there for a few days, and then one night he was sleeping. We had just come back from the hospital. We were up for a little bit, and then eventually he falls asleep. So it's around like 6, not 6. I meant like 3. It's like 3 something. Like 3, 4. I get up to go to the bathroom and, take off my makeup finally. And I turn off the light, so now it's like pitch black in this hallway. And as I'm walking through this hallway, I see this like white thing. It wasn't like a full body. It wasn't a full body. It was like a hazy thing. And like as I'm walking, I literally have to go like this, because it's like in my face. And I just keep walking, and I go to his room, and I shut the door. And I'm just like, wow, what was that? And I thought about it, and I was just like, no, it can't be, right? So I go to bed. And then we are awoken at 6 a.m. by his mom saying that his dad had passed that night. And Okay. So I was like, okay, so I definitely saw him. And as soon as his mom left, I told Tyler, like, what happened. And he's like, wow, that's really freaking weird. And I was just like, is there any way you can find out what time he died? Because I wanted to see, like, maybe it had something to do with that time that I was up. It had nothing to do with the time. But I still think it's weird. Because I saw him, like, 3 to 4. And, like, he might have passed from, like, 5, 6. I don't know. But, yeah. It was weird. Like, I don't know what to really make of these things. Yeah. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Maybe share some of your paranormal stories down below.
The part for me that I really want to discuss is the last story. Just because he passed a couple hours after she had the encounter with powdery ghost in the hallway, I still think there's a possibility of it being him. As I've said, when you're nearing death, the veil is thinning, and maybe he kind of was able to leave his body. Maybe he was able to somehow be 2 places at once. You know, I'm not sure of the exact logistics here, but even it could have been potentially, if it wasn't him, someone else that was just kind of in the area because they knew that he was going to be joining soon, and like this other spirit was making itself known. I don't know. I'm just kind of coming up with theories here. It very obviously was a spirit, and I do say, like, I probably 80% lean towards it still being him somehow, even though he wasn't officially gone until a couple hours later. I just feel like the coincidence is too strong for it to not be him. And again, if by a slim chance, my personal belief that it wasn't him, I think that it was definitely related to him and is soon to be passing in some capacity. Our next TikToks for these are Witch Mama 36.
So in honor of spooky season, I'm going to tell you guys about the first time I encountered a skinwalker. I already tried to record this video, but apparently it's cursed because I can't. If you watched one of my previous videos, you'll understand. Yeah, I still can't do anything with it. Anywho, so we're going to go on. We're going to re-record this. And I apologize that I'm driving. I have a lot to do today. Anywho, so about 4 years ago, I was dating this guy who had already previously had problems with the paranormal. Now, the area we live in Ohio is still Appalachian territory. So that's the fun type of paranormal that he was dealing with. He had a backstory to it, made a lot of sense as to why he was dealing with it, but nonetheless he was. So one night we were at his house and it was about 1 in the morning. Now to get in and out of his house, he would use his backyard. There was just, you know, small little deck, and then his backyard, it was fairly small, just a nice quaint little backyard. But beyond, you know, the entrance or whatever to his backyard was nothing but woods. Nothing but woods, and then the side of it there was like a little shed and then just land. Well, as we were walking out of his house, again, it was about 1 a.m., so it was very, very dark at night. And it was heading into winter time, so trees very, you know. Anywho, so we walked out of his house, and to about the right of us, it sounded, the closest thing I can describe it as is like a bear, the heaviness of a bear walking and crunching on leaves. But it sounded significantly larger. It did not sound, I mean, I've never been up close and personal with the bear, but it sounded much bigger. And the way it was moving away from us, for one, it sounded like it started right at the edge of the deck where we were, and it moved away just by a few feet, and it sounded deliberate. Like, we didn't open the door and startle it, it didn't scurry off, it wasn't trying to hide, it just was just moving. Anywho, so we stood there for a few seconds. Why we didn't just go back into the house, I don't know. But we stood there for a few seconds, kind of like, what the fuck? Like, did you hear that? I heard that. Did you hear that? Holy shit, what was that? And we're trying to let our eyes adjust, and we saw nothing. With as big as this thing sounded, we saw nothing. And from the edge of his deck where it started to where the thing sounded like it walked, there would have been a fence right there to get to his neighbor's, yard. And if this thing even went over the fence or anywhere, you would have heard it. The dogs over there would have started going crazy. The low motion light, everything would have gone off, but nothing did. So anyways, we heard this thing and we're like, what the hell? We're like, okay, let's just get in the car and go. So we walked down the few steps. His car was like a handful of feet away. It was right in front of the shed that was right there. And this shed was completely open inside. You could see everything. It was a small shed. He had just a few bikes in it or something. And as we are starting to walk to his car, we heard the most ungodly growling sound. Again, I've never been up close to a bear or a bobcat or any sort of animal like that. But from the noises that I've at least heard of them make, it didn't sound anywhere near that. It sounded, like I said, ungodly. And I couldn't even imagine a human could make the sound that it did. Yeah, and so, backing up a few seconds, when we walked out of the house, we heard the crawling on this side. His yard is small enough, and even then, it was, like I said, there was a bunch of leaves, they were crunching. We would have heard it move to this side, where his car was, where we heard the growling. We would have heard, or at least seen, a movement, but we never did. And right in front of his car, next to the shed, there were some bushes, but again, it was winter, there was no leaves on them, and there were small bushes, like, you could probably even see a raccoon in it. We saw nothing. We didn't hear anything move. We heard the walking over here and the growling over here. And so we eventually got to his car a couple seconds later and we heard it again, and we were both hearing the same thing. I got in his car, he went to go grab his gun and kind of stood there, and I'm like, what the, like, don't try to play hero, like, let's get in the car. Anyway, so he eventually gets in the car and he pulls up into like his backyard, like in between his deck and the shed right here. He kind of pulls up and he puts his brights on, and you can see, like I said, the backyard's small enough that you can see the whole backyard with the lights on like that. There was nothing there. Nothing on this side. I mean, if something was in the woods, we wouldn't have been able to see it, but from what we could see, there wasn't. There was nothing in the shed. There was nothing in the field over there that was next to it. There was nothing in those bushes. There was nothing by the deck, under the deck, no, nothing. But it was very, we both heard and saw, well, not saw, we both heard all of the same thing. And now I guess I should have started with this. The woods that were behind his house, he had issues with that. He's heard babies crying on different accounts. Babies crying, women screaming. I think he's heard his name a couple times. And again, if you live in the Appalachian area, you know. And again, he started having those problems after he encountered what he originally encountered to begin with. That started all this crap. And I just guess I happened to be lucky enough to one night encounter it with him. Anyway, so eventually we got back in the car. He pulled out. He took me home. I guess he said when he got home, the neighbors' motion lights were on and the dogs were going absolutely ballistic. Mind you, this was 1, 2 in the morning. Nobody was awake. The dog none of that should have been happening either. He didn't hear or see anything the rest of the night. But, yeah, that was super fun. And when I can tell you, the feeling in the air was just, if you encountered, I've been around supernatural, creepy shit my entire life, and if you've encountered, like really encountered something demonic and scary, you know that feeling, you know that heaviness, and that's exactly what that felt like. It felt like being watched, and it was deliberately doing so. It knew what it was doing, and I will never forget that feeling. I will never forget the sound of that growl. I will never forget the panic and the scare. Even him, for him, if you guys knew him, for him to start panicking was crazy. So yeah, no, that was really something. And like I said, that was the first time we encountered that. Thank God. First time for me. Billionth time for him. First time for me. We had another experience after this, together. And that could be another story for another time. But anyway, so yeah. No, really fun stuff. Anywho. So yeah, if you live in, if you know the area I live in, if you live in this area, don't go playing in the woods at night. Don't do that, children.
Alright, I think we've got the first one here where I'm like really kind of questioning it. I think it's for sure a good story, and I believe that this all happened to her, but I don't know. I feel like it just could be some kind of an animal, maybe. I don't know. Like, I feel like there was nothing that was said that's for sure concrete evidence that it was something paranormal, whether it be ghost or other kind of creature. I feel like it is probably something normal. I don't know. I think it really could be written off by some kind of wild animal, potentially. Well, it is kind of a weird story and weird things were heard and experienced. Again, I don't think it could be fully like jumping to paranormal. I think that's probably, I don't know, let me know what you guys think if you really do think it is something paranormal. I could be wrong. Obviously I wasn't there, none of us were, but I feel like just from the way she's telling the story, it seems like it was not exactly that. Our final TikTok of the video is with the user Megan Chocolos.
A little birdie told me we're telling Appalachian ghost stories on TikTok, so I thought I'd sprinkle in a tale or two. So here's the thing, you guys. I'm currently in Appalachia. I'm on the Chocolos family property. That's right, that's right. And the thing about growing up in Appalachia is you know not to mess with the woods or the mountains or the ancient things that reside there, because there's some kind of weird energy going on, okay? You know, you've seen it on TikTok before, the people that say, like, as soon as the sun goes down, you have to close the curtains and lock the doors. And if you're out in the woods and you hear someone calling your name, no, you didn't. Or if you hear a baby crying, no, you didn't. Those things are true, is what I'm trying to tell you. We all know it. We all know it up in this part of the world. And everyone has stories that are spooky ooky that fall into this narrative. So here's the thing. The woods here be thick, right? This is the same mountain range as Scotland. You know how they also have, their mountains have a mystical, the Highlands, they have a mystical feeling to them. There's some kind of energy. I'm telling you, we have the energy here too, but they got more castles and fairies, and we got more trees and beer stores. I don't know what to tell you. We got that, the short stick in this situation. And we got demons, apparently. The woods are so thick. It'll be the brightest, sunniest day, and as soon as you cross into the forest line, pitch blackness. Like I could give you, see how it's just, there's no light. It's a sunny day. The sun is out, birds are singing, flowers are blooming, and ancient demons are lurking right there waiting to snatch me. If something comes out of the woods when I'm telling my tale, please let me know in the comments. If that does happen, I'm sorry to say it'll be too late. Unfortunately, I will have been snatched by the time that you comment. But I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the likes. Thank you. So anyway, back to the story. Let's get serious. Everyone shut up. So, as children, everyone in my neighborhood, I say loosely because the houses are so spread out, we had nothing to do and nowhere to go, so we would all just hang out in the woods. And a few of our friends who live in that direction behind the camera, their families own a lot of property, like dozens of acres, and we'd play in the woods. And the problem with their property, though, is at the end of their property, it results in a cliff. No joking, a straight up cliff, a rock face cliff. Like if you fall off, you will die. That kind of cliff. So we're out in the woods one day, and we're playing hide and seek tag. That was a game of choice throughout my life. I don't know why. Very dangerous. Where were the parents? We're out in the woods, and we say, okay, Sarah's gonna be it. Everyone else hide. And we all go and hide. We start playing hide and seek. Sarah's running around. She's finding us. And one of the places we would hide was this abandoned little shack out in the woods. This little shack. And no one ever claimed it. There was an overgrown road leading up to it. But just out in the woods, there's a shack. And there was stuff in the shack. There was furniture. It looked very abandoned. It was overgrown. The plants had come inside. You know, this much dust on every surface. We'd play in the shack. That was one of the hiding spots. I was hiding in the shack. Sarah found me, and we're like, oh, okay, great. Did I win? No, you didn't win, Megan. I was like, oh, okay, who's left? And they're like, oh, let me think of another fictional name. Benny. Benny, we haven't found Benny yet. And we say, oh, okay, cool. And we're on Benny's property, so we know Benny knows all the good hiding spots. So we're all looking for Benny. We're searching, and like 45 minutes go by. No Benny. And also, the sun was going down. And we said, uh-oh. We know. Sun goes down, you get out the woods. So we said, okay, Benny, you won. Benny! You won! You won, Benny! Benny does not appear. Benny does not come out. So we all start searching for him, and we go, uh-oh, Benny's parents ain't gonna like this. So we're walking, and we go very far out in the property just thinking he's on the outskirts. And when there were two of us looking for him, and all of a sudden we're yelling, Benny, Benny! We hear, help! Help! That's Benny's voice. So we kind of look at each other and acknowledge that, like, oh my God, was that him? Yeah, that was him. So we start kind of like moving faster, and we're like, Benny, Benny, is that you? And we hear, over here! So we take off running faster, and we're running because it's getting dark. We're like, oh my God, what happened to Benny? Running. And all of a sudden, a kid, one of our buddies, had been catching up with us and yelled, stop! Stop! The cliff! So we stopped. 10 more feet, we would have run right out of the forest line and off the cliff, because that's the direction the voice had been coming from. So we're terrified, and we say, did Benny fall off the cliff? We look down, no Benny. And we would know, because it's, you know, it's a giant cliff face, because at the bottom is they built a road. There's no Benny down there. We say, we just heard Benny. We were running towards him. No Benny. So we're freaked out. We all immediately decide, you know what? Better him than us. And we start running back to the house. We run back to Benny's house, and we're like, who's going to tell his parents? Who's going to tell his parents? As soon as we get out of the woods back onto his property, Benny is in his house. He's in his yard, or not in his house. He's at his house. He's in the yard with his mom. She's like passing out popsicles. And we say, we were looking for you. He goes, oh, I didn't even play this round. What? As soon as the round started, I had to pee, and I decided to come home. So who did we hear in the woods? Who did we hear in the woods? Whatever we heard was trying to lure us off of the cliff. And you know what's really crazy about those woods is some of the local lore, and not even lore, this was a thing that happened, is I guess there was some kind of robbery. Hello? Hello? Oh my God, who is out here? Benny? That you? Anyway, the lore, I think the story goes that there's a little airport nearby, and I guess some guy had stolen a bunch of, like, I think it was like money, drug money. I don't know, he was in on something and he tried to steal the money, and I guess his getaway plane wasn't doing what planes are supposed to do, and it crashed somewhere up here in the mountains. They never found the guy, and they never found the money. A few years ago, we're driving home, and there's police cars everywhere on these back roads, and we were like, why are there all this caution tape and police officers, like, what's going on? Apparently, they had found a shed out in the woods near Benny's property, and inside the shed was a body, and the body, because they dated it, the body had been there for like a very long time from when this plane incident occurred. So when we were playing in the shed as children, we were not alone. The body was in the shed. So that's terrifying to think about. Oh, yeah, the energy is weird here. When all of there used to be no houses up here either. This was just farmland owned by Mr. Stinger. And we bought our property from Mr. Stinger, and then everybody else started buying property from Mr. Stinger. When all of these houses were being developed or like built, they were unearthing a lot of artifacts, Native American artifacts like arrowheads and pottery and things of that nature. So all I'm saying is the energy up here on this hill, up on these hills, you too, Benny's property, we're not alone. And that's why you ignore the voices. And if there's a baby crying, no there ain't. You hear your voice? No you didn't. You hear your name? No you did not. In our house, we truly think that the Native American spirits also like to hang out with us. And anyone in my family knows the witching hour occurs at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. You better not be in the living room or any main part of the house. You need to be in your bedroom with the door closed. My older sister has had the scariest encounters in our house. She's had the most encounters overall. But yeah, I haven't had many. We think the spirits are friendly, but they just like their time, and that's their time to have the house. So like we give it to them. And sometimes when we're up really late in the living room watching TV, I was in there once watching TV. I didn't realize what time it was. And I thought to myself, oh, it's almost the witching hour. I better go to bed soon. But I was watching my show and lost track of time. And all of a sudden I hear this huge crash in the kitchen. And I was like, what was that? And I look at my phone. It's 3 a.m. on the dot. And I said, I'm sorry, I know. And I picked up my stuff and I went to my room and called it a night. But that's nothing on Lexi's stories. Lexi's stories, ooh, she's been down in the rec room before. Her and her boyfriend Nick, they were home alone. All of a sudden, right above them in the kitchen, they heard the kitchen table chairs being dragged around on the hardwood floors. They got so scared because they thought someone had broken into the house. That's how much noise it was making. And they could hear the chairs like moving. It's like, oh my God, why is it over there? Why is it over there? They had to call the rest of the family to come home, and they were armed with baseball bats when we found them, and they were standing outside. They're like, someone's in the house. We had to search the house. No one was in the house. Someone might have been in the house. Maybe not a someone, but something was in the house. Ooh, anyway, I didn't get dragged off, so woo, that's a win.
For sure some paranormal activity going on here. That's really alarming. That's why, as she said in the beginning, they tell you if you hear something, no you didn't. The fact that if their friend would not have stopped them, they would have ran off a cliff chasing this disembodied voice that was trying to lure them off of the cliff is absolutely insane. I think this is genuinely my favorite story of the entire video. I think part of it's just the way she tells it, but it's so crazy. Also, I think it sounds really fun to just like have a bunch of pals and a bunch of, you know, land to wander that you can all play hide and seek and stuff like that. I mean, growing up, I did play hide and seek and your typical outside neighborhood games with my local neighbors, but it's not quite the same when you're in a suburban neighborhood versus having forest and acreage to run through. I think that sounds kind of like a kid's dream. Like that would be so much fun, but also scary given things like this. I don't know, I thoroughly enjoy the story, and I'm glad they did not accidentally run off of a cliff. I'm glad they were stopped before that. Yeah, because that obviously would not have been good in any capacity. But this is a wonderful story. I'm glad that I had so many Appalachia stories to share in this video, because that is one place that, again, while I have no desire to ever visit, I love hearing about these stories. And again, as a reminder, if you hear something, no you didn't. If you see something, no you didn't. Whether you're in Appalachia or not. When something fishy happens, pretend it didn't. But that is all I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know which TikToks were your favorite. If you have any thoughts on any of them, please tag me in any TikToks you come across that you would like to see me feature in a future terrifying TikToks video. And while you're at it, please follow me on TikTok and Instagram, where I post special effects makeup looks on those platforms. I think if you guys like this content, you will also like my content over there. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I will pop a couple of video suggestions on the screen for you to watch next. Please click the subscribe button down below if you haven't already, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. I post every Sunday and most Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Central Time. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye.